In the last few years, Sony phones, especially the 1 series, can be described in a few words: overpriced, overkilled, hard to use, and not for everyone. In the V series, a series of big problems have been solved. Can this be the beginning of a comeback from Sony? This is the Xperia 1 Mark V review, so let's do it. In my opinion, in order for Sony to return to the market, it should do two things. First of all, maintaining the things we expect from Sony. The design of the phone is still the same as the simple and professional design of the Xperia 1, and only the cameras have a slightly different look. The aspect ratio is 21:9, which is great for watching movies and videography, and it is much more comfortable and lighter than other flagships. Sony has added a special texture to the back panel and middle frame, which we have seen before in the Xperia Pro, which makes the phone easier to hold. Xperia has always been known for being tough, and well, it's no different here. The back and front panels are protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and the phone has the IP68/IP65 standard, which means it is resistant even to high pressure water. Sony itself is one of the biggest speaker manufacturers, and well, the stereo speakers on the front panel of Xperia 1 Mark V have improved compared to the previous generation and produce clear and loud sound, and the bass is also quite acceptable. Also, the fact that they are placed on the front panel creates a better experience than other flagships. But does it justify the top and bottom bezels of the display? See, at first glance these bezels look old and annoying, but due to the tall dimensions of the screen, you will completely forget about it, and you will enjoy the borderless screen. And even the top and bottom bezels may work better for you than the notch, punch hole, and dynamic island. Also, someone who professionally does videography with a phone or wants to connect it to Sony camera definitely does not want to lose a part of video in an island that is also dynamic. The display of this phone is still completely overkilled. 4K OLED 1000 nits display with 120Hz refresh rate that supports Rec 2020 color space, and both resolution and refresh rate are dynamic. Needless to say, the display is super sharp, the colors are super accurate, and you can choose different color profiles. And overall, it's great. But your eyes won't feel the difference between 2K and 4K in the size, and these features are the cause of its high price, which is completely reasonable in my opinion. Why? Because there is also the Xperia 5 series, which is exactly the same as the 1 series, with the difference that it does not have overkilled features. Xperia 1 is made to be the best possible phone, and its target market is creators and people who wants the best possible phone regardless of the price. Sony also kept features such as external memory, headphone jack, and shutter button, and still sticks to the fingerprint sensor on the power button. Of course, it has a good location and a speed. Professional software capabilities such as 3 separate apps for photography, video capture, and ultra professional video capture, gaming, and sound recording capabilities of Xperias are also available in this phone. The next step for Sony to return to the market is to fix the previous problems. The most important problem that Sony has solved to a large extent is the camera problem. No, the camera of Sony phones has always been good, but you had to know some photography knowledge to capture a great photo. You know, it wasn't like you take out the phone, take a great photo, and put the phone down, which is the meaning of phone's camera. Sony's professional features are still there, but now photo processing has improved in normal mode. The center of the main camera has also improved a lot. Sony was expected to use its new 1-inch IMX989 sensor, but instead it used a new IMX888 sensor with the new XMRT technology, which is 52 megapixels, also 48 megapixels can be used. In this new sensor, the photodiodes and the transistors were placed in the different layers, which made the colors more accurate, and the photodiodes become bigger and absorbs more light. The sensor of other cameras have not found any difference, but now the TOF and RGB sensors have been removed from it. There are ultra-wide and telephoto camera with 3.5 to 5.2x continuous optical zoom and a 12 megapixel selfie camera. The photos of the main lens have very good detail, no visible noise, the colors are very accurate, and the dynamic range is also excellent. They only have one problem, that is the lack of highlighting in them, and the bright points are not as bright as they should be. Portrait photos have no problems despite the removal of 2F sensor, and the subject is well separated from the background, and the background blur is done naturally. Now the night mode has added to the phone, which of course only slightly improves the dynamic range, but overall the night photos are low noise and have good details. Ultra-wide photos are similar to the main lens in terms of color and have good dynamic range and details. But there is also the problem of highlighting in them. Telephoto moving lens photos also have accurate colors and high details, but the details are reduced at higher zooms, which I think is illogical in this type of lens and is a small area. Selfies are great. High dynamic range, accurate skin colors, good subject detection, and high sharpness. Selfies are really at the best level. Selfies of other flagships in medium light conditions is just noise. In videography, in addition to the fact that Xperia 1V has a wonderful stabilizer and supports all qualities, it also has wonderful software. Cinema Pro software officially turns this phone into a professional camera, and with Video Pro, you can take professional videos. Also its color presets. Overall, great for a professional. In terms of hardware, the latest hardware is on this phone. A Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 12GB of LPDDR5 RAM, and UFS 4.0. But the problem of overheating in this phone can be seen quite clearly like the previous generation. But for this reason I put it in this section because unlike the previous generation, it doesn't crash after a few minutes of video recording. And now it is more tolerable. Also, although its battery is 5000 mAh like the previous generation, it has improved due to more optimized chip, and now it doesn't need to be charged for a full day in semi-heavy usage. Its charger, which is not in the box, is also 30 watts and charges the phone in 70 minutes. In my opinion, 3 big problems have caused Sony phones to not dominate the market again. The first problem is the software. The software of this phone is very similar to Android in pixels, but it is much more simpler and a bit boring. On the other hand, your $1400 flagship only gets 2 years of updates, which is awful compared to Samsung's 4 years, Apple's 5 years, and even Xiaomi's 3 years. The next problem is its late release. Reviews and ads of Sony phones always get a lot of views, but the phone itself is released 2 months after the news hype. Next big problem is its bad naming. I have no problem with the naming method itself, but now many people who are not tech geeks think that Xperia 5 is a mid-range phone, when it is not like that at all, and it is completely the company's flagship phone. In my opinion, Sony should have named this phone Ultra, Pro, or a name that separates it from other phones of the company, to make it clear that it is not a simple flagship. Anyway, I hope Sony will come back to this boring phone market and make a change in it, because it has proven to be a creative company. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, like it, and if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you next video.